It is an essential aspect of being human. Language. Without language, there is no thinking, no identity, no togetherness. Francisco Moreno-Fernández studies language and its social components.
I am a linguist, but I always have been interested in the social side of language. Language is like the blood supply that gives life to the society, to the communities, to the social organs. My name is Francisco Moreno-Fernández, and my field is social-linguistics. I study languages in connection to history, geography, and sociology.
Francisco Moreno-Fernández is immersed in his field of research wherever people communicate with each other, like here in Chile on the street. A word is always much more than its mere meaning. It tells the story of how language spreads and how it changes. New words come into existence constantly, or their use or meaning changes. New word creations emerge and find their way into language use, like the word Luca, which is used colloquially in South America.
Luca is 1,000 pesos, and it's a word used in Chile in a colloquial way.
Originally, the word Luca stems from the criminal context of Argentina, but for some time now, the slang word has also been used in Chile. This is exactly what Moreno's research is all about, to work out the fine differences in the great linguistic cosmos of Spanish, and to recognize the reasons: history, migration, political events.
The whole history of Spanish language is made through migrations. This reality makes Spanish a language with a great capability for assimilation of different elements coming from different cultures. Migration makes Spanish as it is. It was in the past and it is in the present.
The things that move people are reflected in language. So are their differences. Moreno coordinates the creation of the largest worldwide database of spoken Spanish. In large field studies, hundreds of terms, names, and contexts are investigated. The same questions are asked at different places in the Spanish-speaking world. It turns out that regionally there are very different terms for the same thing, as for example the word bus. If you put all this data in relation to each other, it becomes clear how the vocabulary in the individual language areas is similar or different. Spain and Chile, for example, are close in vocabulary, but differ more from El Salvador and Costa Rica. Moreno-Fernández is Spanish. Most recently, he lived and researched in the United States at Harvard University, but he has also taught in Japan, Sweden, Brazil, and here in Chile. Chile is in the middle of social unrest and is therefore a suitable place for Moreno's studies. Because where a society changes, its language changes as well. The question of how media, new technologies, and globalization are changing our communications is also addressed.
The words are a reflection of the facts in society. The human being needs to be recognized. So this is one of the powers of the soul. We need to be recognized. And we need to be recognizing our identity.
Connections between identity and language, but also the political developments in South America, are to be examined even more closely in the future, from here at the Heidelberg Center Latin America of Heidelberg University. The center and the cooperation with Chilean universities are intended to serve as a bridgehead for observing and understanding developments in South America. Social tensions and inequalities, conflicts and their causes do not stop at language borders. On the contrary, they overcome them because they often lead to migratory movements and thus to new influences and the mixing of languages.
The world is changing. Borders are not the same in this time that in the past. We had to accept that mix and inter-influences between languages, between cultures, This is a natural way for being societies, modern societies, democratic societies, and finally for being human beings.
Future topics and future questions. Also, from a German perspective, Heidelberg. Together with his wife, a language teacher, Moreno-Fernández is beginning a new phase in his life, his research, and his activity as an outstanding networker. In Heidelberg, he has set himself the task of establishing a new interdisciplinary center for Ibero-American studies.
This Humboldt Professorship is a unique and extraordinary opportunity to create a new project. And we are trying to do that in Heidelberg because this is the perfect place to do it. And we are trying to understand key aspects, key issues of this region from different perspectives.
South America, with its mixture of ethnicities, languages, eventful history, and politics, its diverse migratory movements, but also its successful integration, is an ideal field for observation. Moreno-Fernández is convinced that it is an experimental laboratory containing findings that can be transferred to the entire Western world, findings that are also important for challenges Europe is facing.
This century, right now it is the century of migrations. So if we try to understand the origin, the dynamics, the spaces in which migration occurs, and we are trying to understand the consequences of this movement, we are understanding much better the 21st century, I think.